Hello, 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 hello. This is episode number 9 with Truth Be Told podcast. I'm your host, Brittany, and today we have Miss Ashton Saldana on the line today. She is going to be discussing her book, her wonderful book. Guys, you have got to get it. It is called Words from the Soul. I am so excited to talk about it and introduce you. She is a successful entrepreneur. She's an author. She loves to write. She's very positive, and she is just full of life. And she is my only friend that's lived in Italy. How cool, right?
Thank you, Brittany. Like when you asked me to come on, it's such an honor, especially since you really just took the leap of faith and started this podcast. So I am so excited to be on here today.
I'm excited that you're here. I know that you're busy. And I was just like, oh my gosh, when I started this podcast, and I already had you in my mind because you came to me at a time where I felt like you've seen pain through my eyes. So I just appreciate you.
And I feel like we had an instant bond over losing our fathers, who we both were extremely close to. And I know how hard that can be, but I also know the opportunities and learning lessons that you can take from it. And I just wanted to inspire you to see that side of it as well.
Oh my gosh, you have. Like, I'm still inspired. I'm still glued to everything you're doing. I love just everything that you have going on and why you're doing it and the direction that it's going. I hope you keep going because people like me that are on chapter one, people that are on like chapter 1, like that's how I feel of my self-journey life. I feel like you are like at chapter 10, maybe, and you
we
just
all have to start. And that's the whole thing with the self-discovery and personal growth is there is no specific timeline. It's all just putting in the work to be a better person, to work on yourself, and to find that solace. And so really, like, there's no better or worse. It's like if you're doing the work, then you're showing up. That's all that matters.
Right. I didn't even realize that showing up was like 80% of the battle.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I have been doing this for a long time, but it's daily work.
Right. And that's something that I'm learning and I'm embracing every day. I'm so glad that I found you guys in the book club with Sean Croxton because you guys keep me going. And I want to ask you, how did you come up with this name, like Words from the Soul, and your nickname? Let us know because you are definitely a soul seeker. My daughter was like, oh my gosh, Mom, where is she? And I'm like, she's in Cali. And she's like,
your daughter, I like secretly am obsessed with her because she is like the most, I just like her energy. You can feel her energy through her videos, and I love it. And I know she's going to do great things in life, and that's due to you being such a great, figure for her. But Soulace Seeker came, it was like kind of a play on words, like finding solace for the soul. And then Words from the Soul is like, I just was going through some stuff and I would just write because that was the only way to like get all this shit out of my head and just get it out. And I would just write, and it really was just words from my soul. It was like whatever I was feeling. And it's kind of how the book was developed because I wasn't writing for a book or anything. It was literally my therapy, how to just get through things. And one day I realized like this could impact and help so many other people. I know I'm not the only one that is going through this. And so yeah, I had to be vulnerable and put it out there, but my whole goal was if I could help just one person, then my job was complete.
That's crazy that you said that. I was talking to my mentor earlier, and she kept saying, Brittany, don't look so much into the quantity of people that you impact. Look at the quality and remember the content and the reason that you are doing this. That's the reason that you serve others.
And like, I don't know if you follow Trent Shelton, but he's like, my goal is not to impact millions, it's to impact you. And
oh, wow.
It's so true, because it's like, I'm doing this because I learned so much through my journey, and I know I can help other people.
Yes, you are. You definitely are. You are continuing. You help me. And so I know if you're helping me, you're helping thousands more. I want to look into the book a little bit. I started with the introduction when you sent it to me. Like I said, you came to me at a time where I felt like my life was falling apart. And the introduction, it hit home. Like as soon as I read it, it says, when you feel like your life is completely falling apart, it's worth considering that the universe is actually putting everything in place for you to live. The life that aligns with your vision, your soul, and the path you were always destined to lead.
100%.
Ashton, that gave me butterflies.
It's so hard to kind of understand that when you're going through things, because you're just like, why me? Why this? Like, you can't see it until you get to the other side. But it really is. Every single thing that has happened or occurred in our life, there's a purpose behind it, and it's bringing us to a greater place.
And I feel like if we can just realize that, even though when we're in the midst of it, just remember that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, then we can definitely get there. It's just putting one foot forward each day and having the courage to do that, because life is hard.
It is hard. And, reminding yourself your survival rate's 100%. The stuff that you didn't think you were going to be able to get through, the times you wanted to give up, you made it, and you're on the other side of it now. And it's like, that is, I think, what's the toughest part for people, is to keep that mentality going during the hard times. Because when things are going great, it's awesome, but we are going to continue to struggle. We're going to continue to face painful moments, and you just have to remind yourself there is a learning opportunity that is going to come from this, and work through it. Don't try to, you have to actually work through it and feel that pain. But my biggest thing was not becoming a victim of the things I went through, but turning that pain into power and to use it to fuel me to do everything that I have done.
It's funny that you said that, because that's one of the things that you're saying in your book, as far as, you pretty much were saying your fuel, growth, and positivity has had you rise above the pain and made you push forward. What I love about Words from the Soul is that it doesn't just talk about one topic. It's like articles, a variation of different topics.
And that was the thing, is it wasn't like, it's not like structured in a book sense. You can kind of read any chapter at a time. And it was just like my journaling from a year's span put into a book. And so everything from my travels to spirituality to relationships is kind of in there. And every single part of that brought me to be where I am today.
When you say that, I feel like you're just so soulful, like you have like an old spirit. Like
I really do. I've had that since I was so young. Like, I've always been attracted to like older women, just because I love their wisdom and like their advice. And it's just always kind of been way, way beyond my years, for sure.
I think that's another reason why I felt an instant connection with you as well. I'm the same way. I've always gravitated towards older women. I love to, and I have an old soul. My daughter is always like, Mom, you're so old. You're so old. Because I don't let her do everything. I mean, social media is going to give it to her anyway.
Totally.
So it's so hard to give her what I learned from my father and my mom, but a lot from Dad, and try to instill in her, and the lessons that I've learned along the way. I didn't even realize that after reading your book, that the connection that you had with your mom it's the same type of connection that I have with my mom as well. And it's crazy. As a little girl, what can you tell other little girls as far as that relationship with their mom?
I think that one's hard because you constantly hear like, my mom's my best friend. And I didn't have that. My mom was my mom. She was there to put the rules, make sure they were followed. And, because of all the inner work I did, I learned to not blame her or hold her accountable for that, because it kind of like a generational thing. Like that's how her mom treated her. So for me, it was understanding that, and she did the best that she could do, and it all did come from love. It just wasn't the love I was seeing like my girlfriends had with their moms, and that's okay, because I had something so special with my dad, as with you, that a lot of girls don't have. And I would just say that you have to, whatever cards you were dealt, and the adversities in life are only going to make you stronger. And still to this day, I'm like still trying to like prove a point to make her proud of me. And I know she is, but it's this constant, there's a wedge, and that's okay, because relationships, they're not all picture perfect. And the beauty is, the relationship that I have with her has helped me deal with other kinds of personalities that, I maybe wouldn't have been faced if it wasn't like, everything isn't perfect, and you have to really just do what you can with, like I said, the cards that you were dealt, and make the best of it.
It's a sensitive topic for me. When you talk about your relationship with your mom, because my mom and my relationship till this day is still, I feel like a little wedge, and I don't think she understands it sometimes. It's three of us, and I'm the middle baby. And so sometimes, you know how the middle child feels, the middle child syndrome. And it's always like, okay, the oldest is the best, or got the most attention at the time because she was the oldest, she was the first. And my brother, he's the baby. And he still acts like the baby, but he's like the little big brother. And so she leans on him a lot as far as emotional support. My father and her have been divorced for some time now, but I still sometimes yearn for it. Like losing my grandparents in 2020, it was just so hard for me to, and it's still hard. It's really been a journey. And that's when I found you guys. I found it in the midst of that journey. I felt like I was alone. I felt like there was no love after pain. I just felt hopeless, and I didn't know what to do.
And honestly, the club probably came to you because you needed it. It was just, it lined up perfectly, the timing. And like you said, like I'm a very positive person. My outlook on life is like, we're here for only a short time, like let's make the best of it. And so my biggest struggle with my mom is when I'm not seeing her like grow, and she's fine just being in her little box. And that is so hard for me as someone that like is constantly trying to inspire and empower people, that I can't even reach my own mom. And I think my biggest aha moment was, you can't change people. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I had to literally cut myself off from like taking that personally. And I'm willing to give her the tools when she wants to take them. If she never wants to take them in the rest of her existence, that's fine. That is her journey, not mine.
Right. I think it's something funny that you said earlier when you were talking about generational, I don't want to say curses, but it's just like going trauma down.
Yeah. Like it never gets resolved, and then it just keeps going. And my stance, I don't want to have children. I've made that pretty clear. And for me, one of the things was like, I would never want to recreate this. And I know if I did ever have a child, that would be my biggest purpose, is to change that, but it's scary because it's just going to keep getting passed on down and down unless you make the change. She grew up in a household. It was like, you don't say I love you. You don't, praise, you don't compliment. And so she didn't know any better. And I can't hold her responsible for not knowing any better. The reason I know that you can change that is because I've done a lot of work and reading, and she didn't. And so
it's that generation, Ashton. Like they don't, like you said, they're going to be stuck in their ways. I really do think that our parents, it's just in that generation, they come from work hard, go to school, get a degree, get a good job, get a 401k.
Totally.
That's it.
Just follow the rules society has put forth, because then you'll be okay. And it's like, I've always kind of done differently. And I just knew that I had to stay true to myself and do what was going to light me up. And if that was going to mean stepping out of the box of what she thought was going to be a good life for me, then that's what I had to do.
That's what I love about you. Like, you are definitely that image for any woman to see and grow within their self. You have overcome many obstacles. And how are you using your spirituality? Because I know you're big into that. How are you using that to grow forward and, inspire others?
So I host also workshops, various workshops on self-love, on manifestation, also through my books and my blog, where I just, put out a random content on like various things. But it's just teaching people, it's all a mentality game. And when you can conquer that, you'll start to see things unfold so differently for you. And then it's kind of like, okay, I want to keep this up. And so it is a challenge. I mean, I'm not this toxic positivity person, but I do believe we have control of how we're going to react to situations. And that's sometimes all you can do. And so for me, just trying to stay in control of my mind and looking for the positive and looking for the learning opportunity and going from there.
Man, that sounds awesome. And you're doing it every day. It's funny because, like I said, in your book, you talk about different topics depending on where you're at on your self journey. And in Words from Soul, it was a topic that you talked about in Words from the Soul, chapter 11. It was love after pain. That was really a really big chapter for me, because that chapter for me is still evolving. Could you tell us where you were during this time when you started Love After Pain?
So I was with my ex. We were together for 10 years, basically all of my 20s, married for 6, and then we got divorced. And it was really like I think like, your first breakup, it kind of shapes the way you love. And it might be this like, super juvenile high school relationship or something, but you take something from each relationship. And my biggest thing was not holding the mistakes from my past for my future, because that's not fair to the person that I'm, starting to date or try to flourish a relationship with. Be like, well, this happened then, so it's going to happen again. It's like they deserve a fresh start. And my dad actually, I will never forget this, told me, give the person all the rope that they need. If they decide to hang themselves, then that's on them. And it was like, wow, you know, like I'm never the type of person to be like going through phones or trying to investigate. It's like, I'm going to give you 100% of my trust. And that's hard to come by. But if you decide to abuse that, you know, then that's on you. And just learning that I took things from my past relationships and use them to kind of create the relationship I wanted to be in, and that it is possible, you know. You look at it from a positive perspective of what happened in the past and what do I want now in the future. And it takes time. It takes time for sure.
Oh gosh, yes. Like I was with my daughter's dad for like when I started dating him at 14, Ashton. I think I started having sex at 14. And I didn't have Layla until I was like 19. But that's still young. That's young. I had just started college. Everything that was coming towards me, I didn't know how to handle. He was a lady of the street. So he was always doing something. And I was just so wrapped up in it. He was, like you said, the first high school love, and I just couldn't let it go. I didn't know what to do with it. Until this day, I still have healing wounds that I'm still going through, working through from that. But to see the progression that I've made from the time that I started.
Focus on that, you know, because like we talk about, you have to celebrate the little wins too. Mm-hmm. It is a journey. It's not going to go from 0 to 100. There's going to be a process. And I mean, they say that like it takes half the time of how long you've been with someone to fully get over them. And at first I was like, fuck, that's going to be 5 years. I don't have 5 years to get over this. Like, but truly just learning and like a forgiveness too, like, mm-hmm. because holding on to that was just burning me inside. And it was like,
toxic.
It's my biggest thing was, and it has been in all my relationships, like, do what you want, just please don't cheat on me. Like, because that's the ultimate betrayal. And you did that. And so, mm-hmm. like, it was so hard, but then the learning to forgive, because it was like, this is for me. Forgiveness is for me. It really mm-hmm. has nothing to do with you. I am giving this gift to myself. And I really do wish people that have wronged me good fortune, you know. Mm-hmm. I also believe, like, during all of it was like, let go. There's a higher power that's going to take care of all of this, and I don't need to worry.
That's definitely true. I definitely believe in that. My friend, she always would ask me, why don't you hate him? You're still in love with him. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's called growing up. It's like me finally accepting the fact that I had a role in what I went through, that I allowed this, but being okay with it. I was young and he was young, and we had a baby at a young age, and it's okay. But for me, I'm going to forgive him because I'll let him go.
And, you know, like, I actually was thankful for how things happened, because I would have stayed in this marriage that was not doing anything for me, but I didn't have like the courage to walk away. Like, my life was set up to where what am I going to walk away from? I don't have anything on my own, and it would have just stayed. And that was like the impetus to say, no, I'm not doing this. I told you the one thing, and I gotta move on. So I always say, I thank her for coming into his world, because she blessed me in the end. Yes. She really did.
I know, because I know he's looking at you like, dang, I messed that up.
No, and like, we don't talk. We don't have any kind of connection or communication whatsoever. But the last text exchange that we had was a really beautiful closure to our chapter. Just like, I'm so proud of you, and every day, like, I just want to be a better person. And so it was so nice to read that. And that is, like you said, it's growing up. It's being a friggin' grown up and saying, like, hey, people come and go into your life, and you can either cherish the lessons you learn from that, or you can hold on to the negative shit. And who wants to do that,
Nobody. I love that. I love that takeaway. Nobody wants to hold on to the negative.
But I'm not going to lie, it's hard to get to that point. And it took me a while, because there was a lot of anger. And that's kind of how I got into my whole journey. Was I don't like how I'm feeling, and I need to dig deeper, and I need to work on myself, because I can't control anyone else. So, and then I started reading, and just fell in love with, self-help and personal development books. And here I am today.
Well, I just want to say that you are amazing, Ashton.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta come back out there and meet her.
I know. No, I definitely am gonna make my way to North Carolina soon, and you're on my list.
Yes, we will make it happen. And I just want to commend you for being everything that you are to everybody. Keep going, even when it's rough and you're having a rough patch and you're not understanding, like you tell me, just to keep going too.
And it's true, because, sometimes the purpose, or we kind of get lost, and I'm like, I do that. I'm like, is this working out? Like, does it matter? And the universe will just send me like a text from someone being like, you don't know how much this meant to me, or I did this and it's because of you. And it was like, that's what I needed to hear today. I needed to hear that I am making an impact, and sharing my struggles is showing other people, hey, we're all in this together,
And I love that. I love that about you. And I want to know, as far as with Words from the Soul, do you have any other articles or any other books that you're working on, or something coming up?
I published my second book in February of 2021.
Okay.
It's called The Parenthood Pendulum.
Yeah.
And it's basically navigating through life choices. And the women today, they're now facing options for an alternative lifestyle. And it doesn't have to be the marriage, kids, house. It can be different. And I think that it's still kind of taboo, and we need to change that. And I wanted to write it, not to say like one choice is better than the other, but to help people that are kind of teetering on struggling with, I don't know if I really want to have children. Like, I've known since I was 12 years old that motherhood was not the path for me.
Right. And that's okay.
And that's okay. And I also know that there's women that are born to be mothers. Like my sister-in-law is amazing. And it's like, you just kill it every single day. I don't know how you do it, but you do. And so to kind of help people navigate the choice and really think about, you're responsible for the physical and mental well-being of a human. This isn't like, like, there's a lot that goes into it. And you as a mom know it's no easy feat. And
no, it's not. You have to put your energy into that person and, make that person a better person than what you were raised. You take the good and the bad from what you learned as a child, and you parent that child.
100%. And so I think just kind of closing the gap between parents and non-parents, and making people feel accepted for whatever their choice may be. So,
where can we find your books? Where are your books located?
Yeah, you can go on my website, www.soulaceseeker.com, SOULACE. I'm sure you'll put it in the notes.
Yes.
It's also on Amazon or in Barnes and Noble. And I also have an exclusive promo code for your listeners. If they TCB, no, TBT, sorry.
Yeah.
TBT, they'll get 20% off. So
no, that's awesome. I'm gonna let people know this is amazing. They have to get the book. They definitely have to get the book. And I want to thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we head out of here tonight?
Just keep going, and really, if anything, life's too short. You gotta make the most of it. Learning from my dad, taking that huge trauma and learning that life is so fragile, and we weren't born to just work and pay bills and to just go on. We were born to like fully live. And if that means taking some big risks or getting out of like those dead end relationships, like it is possible, and you just need to believe in yourself, and it'll all work out. It will all work out.
I know that's right. And I love that. I love that takeaway, Ashton. I appreciate you tonight. We are definitely signing out. This is episode number 9 from Truth Be
Nine's my
Told.
favorite number. Woo!
Words from the Soul by Ashton Saldana. Go pick it up at Amazon, guys. Thank you, Ashton.
Thank you so much.
Take care.